I still remember the way her lips curved that night. Not into a smile, but a smirk. It was the kind of expression that told me love had quietly packed its bags long before either of us admitted it. We were sitting at the dinner table, the same oak table we bought 10 years ago when everything still felt like us. My name's Daniel. I'm 38. I've been married to Claire for 11 years. We met in college. She was the girl who laughed too loud and dreamed too big. Back then, I loved that about her. She made life feel bigger than it was. But somewhere between paying bills, chasing promotions, and trying to build a home, her laughter started to sound more like mockery than music. Dinner had always been our quiet war zone. The clinking of forks filled the silence where conversation used to live. That night, I told her something small. Maybe too small to matter, but it stuck with me. I said, "Claire, could we stop having your friends over every weekend? I just need one night of peace." She didn't look up from her phone, didn't blink, didn't even sigh. Then she smirked, that slow sideways twist that said, "You don't matter enough to take seriously." "If you don't like it," she said. "The door's open." I froze. The words were casual, like she was reading the weather forecast. But something inside me cracked. Not in anger, just in clarity. For years I had tried to fix what was already decided. I thought love meant endurance. I thought staying meant strength. But in that instant, I realized love without respect is just quiet humiliation dressed as loyalty. I didn't answer right away. I just stared at her, wondering how long she'd been waiting to say that. She laughed under her breath and took another bite. "Don't look so serious, Danny," she said. "You're too sensitive." I had heard that line before. Too sensitive. It was her favorite dismissal. When she flirted with coworkers at parties, I was too sensitive. When she mocked my job in front of her friends, I was too sensitive. When I asked her if she still wanted this marriage, you guessed it, too sensitive. I excused myself, went to the porch, and just stood there under the fading light. The air smelled like rain, the kind that threatens but never comes. I thought about the man I used to be, the one who believed in fixing things, the one who kept waiting for the right conversation to make everything better. But marriage isn't a light switch. You don't wake up one day and find it dark. It fades slowly, one dimming bulb at a time. When I went back inside, she was washing dishes, humming a song I didn't recognize. I said, "Claire, I'm tired of pretending." She rolled her eyes. "Here we go again." I told her, "I've tried to talk, to make this work, but you don't even care anymore." She shrugged. "Daniel, people grow apart. It's life. You'll survive." There was no sadness in her voice, just mild boredom. And that's when I realized she wasn't cruel. She was done. And when someone's done, they'll twist the knife just to prove they're still in control. I nodded slowly. She thought I'd argue, maybe beg, like before. But I didn't. Instead, I smiled, the first real smile I'd felt in months. "You're right," I said. "The door's open." She gave that same smirk again, not understanding. Then I added, "Exactly. For you." Her hands froze midair, dish soap sliding down her wrist. For a moment, her eyes darted across my face, searching for a trace of bluff. But I was calm. I wasn't shouting. I wasn't angry. I was just finished. The silence that followed was heavier than any fight we'd ever had. She tried to laugh it off. "You're not serious," I said. "I've never been more serious." I walked past her into our bedroom and started packing a suitcase. Not mine, hers. When she saw me pulling out her suitcase, her smirk finally disappeared. "Daniel, what are you doing?" I didn't look up. "You said the door's open. I'm just helping you find it." She crossed her arms. "You're being dramatic." "No," I said quietly. "I've been patient. There's a difference." The sound of hangers sliding across the rod echoed in the room like a clock ticking down. Her voice softened. "You're overreacting. You always do." I turned to her. "That's what you've told yourself so long that you actually believe it. Every time I tried to talk, you turned it into a performance. Every time I showed emotion, you called it weakness. I'm not angry anymore, Claire. I'm just done being invisible." For a second, she didn't move. Maybe part of her thought I wouldn't go through with it. I was the stable one, the predictable one. The man who always stayed no matter how deep the cut. But predictability has a limit, it's called self-respect. She finally whispered, "You wouldn't actually end this." I zipped the suitcase shut. "I already did. You just didn't notice." The next few minutes were painfully quiet. She sat on the edge of the bed, staring at her hands, like the gravity of what she'd said earlier was finally sinking in. I wanted her to say something honest. Not cruel, not sarcastic, just real. But all she managed was, "You're throwing away 11 years over one comment?" I shook my head. "No, I'm letting go of 11 years of one-sided effort." That comment was just the punctuation mark. I carried the suitcase to the door. She followed me down the hall, her voice trembling now. "So that's it?" "Yeah," I said. "That's it." She stood there, looking at me like I was the stranger who'd broken into her life and stolen the script she thought she controlled. When the door closed behind her, the silence felt different. It wasn't empty. It was clean like air after a storm. I sat on the couch and exhaled, realizing how heavy the past few years had really been. For a while, I just listened, to the hum of the refrigerator, to the faint ticking of the clock. It's strange how peace doesn't announce itself with music or light. It just arrives, quietly, and sits beside you. The first few days were oddly calm. No phone calls, no messages, just quiet. Part of me expected guilt to crawl in, the kind that whispers you could have tried harder. But the truth is, trying harder in the wrong direction doesn't take you anywhere new. It just digs a deeper hole. I went back to my routine. Work, gym, the same coffee shop I used to avoid because it reminded me of our early dates. One morning, I saw a couple there. She was laughing too loud, he looked tired but happy. It hit me how rare that is. Two people actually meeting each other halfway. Claire texted me about a week later. Just one line. "So this is really how you end it?" I stared at the screen for a long time before replying. "No, this is how I save myself." She didn't answer after that. And I didn't wait for her to. Months passed. I learned to enjoy silence again, not as loneliness, but as space. I started cooking for one without feeling pathetic. I started sleeping without checking which side of the bed was empty. And one day I caught myself humming while washing dishes, the same habit she used to have. But it didn't feel like imitation. It felt like reclaiming something that used to be mine. Peace. I realized something then. People don't lose love all at once. It fades in tiny, almost invisible ways. Through the rolled eyes, the dismissive comments, the smirks that say you're less. But when you finally decide you deserve more, the silence that follows isn't loneliness. It's freedom echoing. I don't hate her. In some strange way, I thank her. She gave me the push I was too scared to take myself. Because sometimes it's not the big betrayals that break you. It's the small moments when someone tells you, the door's open. You just have to realize it's not meant for you to leave. It's meant for them. So now, when people ask what happened, I don't tell them she left or I threw her out. I simply say, I stopped arguing with someone who'd already stopped listening. And if they press for more, I smile. A quiet, calm smile that she used to mistake for weakness. Then I say, the door was open. I just finally noticed.